Are We Still Friends by Ruth Horowitz, illustrated by Blanca Gomez. Beatrice and Abel lived side by side, with a low stone wall between them. Abel grew apples and Beatrice raised bees. They were the finest of friends indeed, and so were the bees in the trees. In the summer, when honey filled Beatrice's hives, she'd holler, "Hello, Abel, are you free?" And he'd cross the low wall to help gather the sticky, sweet liquid. In the autumn, when apples filled Abel's tree, he called, "Hello, bee, please." And she crossed the low wall to help harvest the ripe red fruit. In winter, the bees in the trees rested. So Beatrice and Abel rested too. Side by side, they spread crispy toast with apple butter and sipped warm tea with honey. Beatrice and Abel needed each other all year, but especially in the springtime, when Abel's trees filled with flowers. Beatrice's bees needed flower nectar to make their honey. Abel's trees needed bees to spread their pollen to make their fruit. Back and forth across the wall the bees flew, until one spring morning, whack, Abel smacked into a branch. Ouch! The smack startled the bee. Zing! The bee stung Abel right on the nose. Yow! Abel yammered. Across the wall, Beatrice heard Abel's squeal. What a silly laugh, she thought. She laughed right back. Was Bee laughing at him? Abel wondered. He rubbed his sore nose. "Blasted Bee!" he bellowed. Was Abel talking to her? Beatrice wondered. "Don't you bellow at me," she yelled. "Pie face!" "Pie face," Abel sputtered. "Well, you're a fuzzbrain." "Wormy gore, fuzzbrain." Back and forth the words flew until Beatrice and Abel marched into their houses and slammed their doors behind them. There sat Abel, his hurt ripening like a big round apple. "Pie face," he sputtered. "I don't need her or her bees." And there sat Beatrice, her anger buzzing like an irate insect. "Fuzzbrain," she muttered. "I don't need him or his trees." But outside, the bees continued their quiet business. Back and forth across the wall they flew, sipping nectar and spreading pollen just the same as always. Abel scribbled a sign and planted it where the bees would see it. But the bees didn't care about that sign. The sign says, "No bees allowed." Beatrice built a fence to keep the bees on her side, but the bees didn't care about that fence. Up in his attic, Abel gathered a jumble of junk and piled it all on the wall. Down in her basement, Beatrice found a mishmash of trash. She stacked it on Abel's jumble. "Sour apple," Beatrice snarled. "Fuzzbrain," Abel answered. And you know what the bees did. But Beatrice and Abel didn't care. Higher and higher they stacked and piled until, blink, something slipped. Clink, something dipped. And with a clatter and a crash, the whole teetering mass tumbled into the bee yard. What a mess. In all that tangle, there wasn't a sign of Beatrice. "Hello?" Abel called, but no answer. "Hello?" Abel shouted. Where was she? Then he heard something. It could have been the bees or the wind in the trees, but it seemed to be coming from the pile, and it seemed to be saying, Hello! Hello? Abel called. Hello! At last, Abel found her. Hello, bee, he whooped. I thought I'd lost you. Hello yourself, she croaked. I thought you didn't care. Abel offered a hand and helped her climb out. I thought you were laughing at me, he said. I'm sorry. I thought you were insulting me, she said. I'm sorry too. Are we still friends? Indeed. They looked at the yard. What a royal mess. I'll put everything in apple pie order, Abel promised. I'll help, Beatrice said. So side by side, they cleaned everything up. Back in Abel's kitchen, they spread crispy toast with apple butter and sipped warm tea with honey. We were numbskulls, said Beatrice. Mush minds, Abel agreed. They were the finest of friends indeed. And so were the bees and the trees. Just the same as always. Ooh, and if you pause it, there's an easy apple butter recipe right here. It's a good fall book, isn't it? All right. Good night. I love you.